Hello, Network to Code community. My name is Tim Fiola. I'm a developer advocate here at Network to Code. And today we're going to be demoing the Notabot version control app. Now, as of this recording in late September of 2021, this app is not released publicly just yet, but we are getting close and we wanted to give the community a preview of the benefits this app is going to bring to Notabot. In short, this app will bring a GitHub-like workflow for changes in Notabot's database by adding a version control to the database. So with that, let's go ahead and get to it. So the version control app that we're going to demo today, it's going to bring three main business and operational benefits. The first one is it is going to impose safeguards to keep data clean by adding explicit checkpoints for human review of any changes to the data before those changes go into production. It will also allow partial or wholesale rollbacks of changes if something breaks once it's in production. And finally, it's going to maintain a history of all changes to production data in the branches so that you can go back and do forensic examination of data changes if that becomes necessary. So with that, let's go ahead and get to it. And we are going to demo each one of those use cases and benefits. All right, so let's go ahead and start off here. You're looking at the Notabot with version control app installed. And now in this workflow I'm going to do now, right now I'm going to be wearing the hat of someone who is going to go into Notabot and propose changes to the database. So let's go ahead and demo that. So I'll go up to version control up here, and I'll go ahead to branches. And I'm going to go ahead and add a branch. I'll name this branch Atlanta Leaf Augment. And I'll go ahead and create that branch. All right, here's our branch. So we've done a couple things here. First, we created the branch, and now you see that there is a new banner saying that this new branch, Atlanta Leaf Augment, is the active branch. Now, any changes we make in this branch do not automatically go to production. They stay local in the branch until the branch is merged. So with that, let's go ahead and start making changes here. So the first change we're going to do is we're going to add a device in Atlanta. So let's go ahead and go to Atlanta, the site, and we'll go to devices. All right, we're going to go ahead and add a device here. We're going to name this device Atlanta Leaf 09, and we're going to assign it a device role. For purposes of this demo, we're going to give it a bad device role. We're going to call it a spine. So this is an error in the data. It should be a device role of leaf, but we've mistakenly given it the role of spine. I'll go ahead and fill out the rest of this information here to create the device. Okay, and never mind all these extra banners. That is a bug right now. We're working to remove all those additional banners that get generated. Regardless, here we go. We have a new Leaf device here, Atlanta Leaf 9. We'll go ahead and modify a couple other things in the Atlanta area. So we'll go back to organization, sites. We'll go to circuits now. And we're going to modify this circuit a bit. We're just going to go ahead and put in a comment here. This renews in October of 2021. All right. Well, so we've modified this circuit. And we are going to go ahead and add one more change to this branch. Let's go back to Atlanta. Go back to devices. And we are going to put one of these devices in Atlanta into a different status. So let's go to Atlanta Leaf 8. We'll go ahead and edit it. And we are going to change the status from active to decommissioning. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, I've just made 3 changes here in this branch, but you can imagine in a production environment where you might make dozens, perhaps hundreds of changes to the data proposed in a single branch. So with that, we'll go ahead up to version control, and we will we will go ahead and look at the diffs. Now this will give us the diffs between our active branch and the main branch. So here we are on the diffs tab, and there's a few different parts of this tab, so I'll just go through them one by one over the sections. On the left-hand side here, there's just information about the branch. On the right-hand side here is a diff summary, summarizing the types of diffs and the amount of changes in each diff, with green, yellow, and red being creates, updates, or deletions, respectively. Then you can also scroll through the different diffs. All right. Now, if you're interested in a certain category of diffs to look at first, you can click on that category in the summary, for instance, interface diffs, and be taken directly to that to inspect as well. So you can review all these changes. So I, as this person who's making changes to the data, proposing changes to the data, I can review my changes on this screen. Now, keep in mind, we have this erroneous spine rule on a Leaf device that we're proposing to add. I, as a human being, I'm going to miss that for now, and that error is going to carry forward for some high drama. But for now, this all looks good to me, all these diffs. Now, let's also take a look at commits. And if we go up to version control and go to commits, we will see the commits for this active branch, for our Atlanta Leaf Augment branch. Now, you'll notice that I made 3 changes to the data, but I never made any explicit commits. And that's because every time you make a change in Nautobot, you hit the create button, you hit the update button, the delete button, it automatically makes a commit for you and adds a commit message that's auto-generated. Okay, so the commits happen, they're just behind the scenes. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and now we've looked over our changes and they look good to us. And we're going to go ahead and make a pull request. So we go up to version control, then go to pull request, and we'll just go ahead and hit the plus button directly from here to add a new pull request. And so we'll call this Atlanta Leaf 09 Augment. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and create the pull request. Okay, here's our pull request screen. Great. So we're not going to cover this screen in a lot of detail until we get to the next part of the workflow, which is coming up now. So at this point, let's just go ahead and go back to the Nautobot main screen. And now I am going to switch hats here. I am no longer the person who was proposing the changes. I am now the person whose job it is to review and approve the changes prior to going into production. Okay. So what I can do here, I can come in as a new person, and I would go up to version control, and I could look at pull requests. Now I see there's an open pull request, so I can go ahead and click on this pull request. Okay, here's our pull request screen. So the first part of this pull request, the first tab, notice there's 4 of them here on the left-hand side. The first part is just the diffs screen. And we've already covered this a bit, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on this. So I can review this and I can see that, yeah, we have, I see the new device, Atlanta Leaf 9. I'm going to miss the mistaken spine roll. That should be Leaf. It's an error. As a human, I'm missing that for now. But I do notice that, hey, this Atlanta Leaf 8 device, that was supposed to have been decommissioned or going to decommissioning, but that decom has been postponed indefinitely. So I know right now that there's one thing on this pull request that I need to that is not correct. So there's one error at least on this pull request. And as we go through here, we can look at the circuit diffs. And if we open up this circuit diff screen here, I can see that the change here is a new note that says, hey, this renews in October 2021. Huh, interesting. I wasn't sure if that renewed in October or November of 2021. So that's another note I'm going to make mentally as I'm reviewing this. And then we can look at all these diffs here. So the second tab we're going to look at now is this commits tab. So let's go over to commits and click on it. All right, here we are on the commits tab. Now, keep in mind, there's at least one error on this that I know needs to be corrected. So on this commit, we'll go ahead and open this commit. All right, we see that it is supposed to be decommissioned. So we know that's not right. So if we go backwards, back to that commit, now one of the cool things here about this version control app is that you can either do wholesale reverting everything in the branch, or you can cherry pick which specific commits you want to revert. In our example here, I'm going to go ahead and select this one commit to revert, and I'm going to go ahead and revert it. Now, this is the commit that changed the Atlanta Leaf 8 device from active to decommissioning. So it gives me one more chance to review what I'm going to do here. And yes, I want to revert this commit. Okay, so that revert in itself added another commit to the branch that undid a prior commit in the branch. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead now and go back up to our pull request screen and go back to the pull request we were looking at prior, Atlanta Leaf 9 augment. Okay, here we are back on the pull request screen. So we've looked at the diffs tab, we've looked at the commits tab, and we undid one of the commits. And now let's go ahead and go to the reviews tab. Okay, so nothing's been reviewed on this just yet, but as the reviewer and approver, I'm going to start the review comments. So I will go ahead and add a comment, and I will say the Atlanta Leaf 08 decom is postponed forever. So I undid that change. Then I can also say, is that circuit renewal in October or November? And I will add this comment to the pull request. Okay, there we go. So our conversation has been started. Now, imagine I am the person who created the pull request. I'm coming back in here and I'm seeing the conversation and questions around the pull request I submitted. So I'm going to go ahead and read these comments, and then I can go ahead and add my comments. Okay, I can say thanks for undoing that change. Then I can say I checked with the provider, that circuit provider, the circuit renews in October. All right, so I can add this comment, and I'll go ahead and create this. Okay, now the conversation's getting a little bit more robust. Not that big, but pretty robust. Now, I, as the approver and reviewer, can come in and read these comments and go ahead and add a review. And I can say, okay, thanks for checking the circuit info. And everything else looks good. Now that I know that, now that I've gotten my question answered, I can go ahead and move the state to approved. So I change the state to approved along with my comment, and I hit create. And understand that this, if there's dozens and dozens of changes going on here, these reviews obviously can get pretty lengthy and perhaps dramatic. But in this example here, pretty simple for these 3 changes. Okay, so I've moved the circuit, excuse me, I've moved the PR to approved, and we see the approved badge here. And we also notice the merge button is now available. So I am going to go ahead and merge these changes. So I'll click on that button. Okay, so these are the total diffs that I'm going to be putting forward now. Again, I can look at them before I merge them. I'm going to not pick up on this bad rule right here. But these are the device diffs. We're adding that device, the circuit diffs. One more chance to go ahead and take a look at these and review the data. And I'm going to go ahead and merge this one. And so this is going to push these changes from my specific branch now into the main branch, just like in Git. Okay, this is now merged. So let's go ahead and go back up to our version control button up here, navigation menu, and go to branches. And let's go ahead and check out or activate the main branch, make the main branch active, and we'll go ahead and verify the changes we made that we just merged into the main branch. So let's go to organization, let's go to sites, let's go to Atlanta. All right, let's look at our devices first. And lo and behold, we have Atlanta Leaf 9 sitting there ready to go. Again, we have this bad roll here, so we'll go deal with that in a second. But the changes we made have come through into the main branch, just like we thought. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to put on the hat of an operator, someone who's operating the network. And I happen to notice that I'm starting to see some weird automation problems in Atlanta. Operationally, I had a lot of alarms coming in that indicate something's going on, excuse me, in Atlanta. So what can I do? Well, as a good network operations operator, I can go ahead and check my data. So in Nautobot, we're in the main branch now, I can go to version control, and I can look at commits. So these are all the commits in the main branch. And I can see that, yeah, hey, I'm having problems in Atlanta. And just recently, just a few minutes ago, there was a change in Atlanta. There were some data changes in Atlanta merged into the main branch. So understand in an operational environment, if you have a lot of alarms coming in, and this merge had a lot of changes to the data, in the moment, you might not be able to go through the diffs and see exactly what change that just got merged is causing your problems. So as an operator, you want to get your data back to the last known good state. So in that case, we can select this commit right here, this individual commit, which merged the changes from my branch into main. I can select that and go ahead down here and click on the Revert Selected Commits button. And I'll go ahead and click on that button. And it's asking me, are you sure you want to do this? Yep, let's go ahead and undo those changes. Great. Now we have undone the changes. So let's go ahead and go back up to organization and sites, and we're going to make sure the changes have been undone. So if we go to Atlanta, we're back to 10 devices, and if we look at those devices, sure enough, Atlanta Leaf 9 is now gone. And if we go to the circuits, we'll go ahead and just make sure our circuit comment is also gone. And as we see, our comments that we made prior about the renewal are also gone. So we pushed changes into production, and then we undid all those changes with one revert. So we've gotten our data back to the last known good state. And now what's also cool is if we go back to the commits, we can forensically examine the different changes that have all taken place to production data. So for instance, if I want to look at this commit here that did the revert, I'll open this up in a new tab. But I can go ahead and see what what data I reverted back to how it was before. And if you look at this entire data history here, as the changes happen in the different branches and in main branch, the history is kept right here, and you can see exactly what changes were happening by clicking on these different commits. That'll tell you exactly what changed. So this is a history, a living history of data changes in both the main branch and in any other branch that's created. So if we go ahead and look at this revert we did here, the one we rolled back in mass for the merge, it's basically just the opposite of what we added. We removed this device, Atlanta Leaf 9. We undid this change for the comment in the circuit, and all these interfaces got removed because we removed the device. Okay. In this video, we demoed the version control app for Nautobot, and we demoed the three main value adds that we have to offer at this time. The safeguards for human review of data changes, and I also showed how the reviewer or someone else can modify the pull request prior to it being submitted. And then we demonstrated making a wholesale reversion of a complete merge to get our production data back to a prior state before the changes. And then we also examined the history of the commits, which give you a living history of all the changes that have happened to your Nautobot database. All right, this concludes the demo portion of this demo. Another thing I'm going to demo here real quick is the ability to query via REST calls specific branches within Nautobot when it's running the version control app. So I have Postman set up here, right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a get call for devices in Atlanta. Okay. Now, what's different here is I can add this dolt branch argument, and in the value of this argument is going to be Atlanta Leaf augment, which matches the branch we just merged into main. Now that branch still has that information. So for the devices. So we're going to go ahead and send this query. All right, so we count 11 devices. 11 devices got returned with that query against the Leaf augment branch, which does match the amount of devices that we have in the branch. Now, let's go ahead and change this from the Atlanta Leaf augment branch to, let's query the main branch and make sure we don't have any cookies here. Perfect. And so we're going to go ahead and query the main branch now for devices in Atlanta. And sure enough, in Atlanta, keep in mind, we just saw prior, in Atlanta, we have 10 devices in the main branch. So using this DOLT branch key value, you can query different version control branches in Nautobot for different information to programmatically access the information in each branch. All right. Well, thank you for your time today. This concludes the demo. Happy coding and have a great day.